Christmas 2024, this past Christmas, it was not a very Merry Christmas. Now, I know what you guys are all thinking. Christmas is behind us, let's move forward. No one wants to talk about Christmas. It was such a large ordeal that happened already. It's already passed. We should let it go, move on. A lot of us are really tired by the holiday season as a whole, even though that's supposed to be a chance for you to get a break, rejuvenate yourself, and be around friends and family. But Christmas was supposed to be a time of joy and wonder, but it was a time for me that was a reminder of my absolute failure in the bad year that I had. I didn't make enough this past Christmas for my daughter to get a proper visit from Santa, or at least what I would consider a proper visit from Santa. And I might show my first world problem here and even show some of my bias, because I typically like to go all the way out for her and make it something special, because I remember what it was like when I was a kid to wake up and see gifts under the tree and realize that it was for me. It felt magical. It felt like it wasn't real. And I wanted to make sure I can kind of replicate a lot of that same energy that my parents had given me when I was a kid. And to kind of better illustrate this, and if you guys stick around for the whole video, there is a lesson to be learned at the end. So I really hope that you guys join me in this and even contribute some of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Normally, I buy Christmas gifts. The Christmas shopping season for me starts in October and goes through, obviously, to December. And this time around, I had waited and scrounged up at the last minute. It was, I think, a week before Christmas, because I just seriously didn't have the money. And I found myself texting friends and family, those who had already asked me about my daughter, asking what the kind of plan was, so that way we didn't end up getting the same things. And I just told them straight up, I was like, hey, it's going to be a tough year this year for me. So if you guys could, I really appreciate if no one really buys toys. Not because I was looking to make her Christmas a tougher Christmas, but more so because I wanted the smaller, more gifts that I bought to be more special for her. And additionally, I really didn't want any more toys, because she's 4 years old and we still have stuff from when she was a newborn, and I need to get rid of these things. It's not good for my mental health to have them lying about around the house. And so family, close family, my mom and dad, they got her a couple large gifts. My brother stepped up and got her a Christmas stocking and stuffed it to the brim. It was awesome. And my sister, who wasn't available for this Christmas, she ended up giving a lot of clothes, and these were hand-me-down clothes, but I really appreciated her. She came through for me. Shout out to my sister, guys. I really appreciate her. As far as friends are concerned, I would consider my nanny, the babysitter that's been watching my daughter since she was, I don't know, 4 months old. Her family even stepped up and got a pair of shoes and some clothes and this, oversized, when I say oversized teddy bear. And my daughter was over the moon. And I think, if I remember correctly, I got her a Nintendo Switch this year, which I bought used. There's no shame in my game, guys. I'm gonna try to save money where I can. It's not always best to get a gift used, but I bought it from a good guy. The opportunity just kind of came up when I was at work. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about getting my daughter a Nintendo Switch for Christmas. What do you think? And he was like, oh, I have an extra one. And we got a great deal. So I really appreciate him offering me an item like that at I would say below what other people would pay for it. And it's just, I think she loves it, but she's not quite old enough to really enjoy it. So it's gonna be there for her for now, and for when she starts to see other kids play with theirs, and maybe she'll be more interested in it. The takeaway that I remember specifically from this past Christmas was just my poor girlfriend. I feel so bad because it was a tough Christmas for me, so I didn't get her anything, if I could be honest with you guys. I normally do kind of like a 12 days of Christmas type of thing for her, where I break up the gifts into smaller segments and kind of, from the 12th of Christmas all the way up until Christmas Day. I will make sure that she has something. And these are not crazy expensive things. Just, little things that I know that she would enjoy, or that reminded her that I thought about her in some way. She basically got the equivalent of less than a lump of coal this year, and I feel so bad for her. Like, if she ever sees this, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I really gave this Christmas season my best, for what I had working with me. I guess that's no excuse. I need to take full responsibility. Maybe there's something more I could have done. And now that I'm moving into a new year, I can kind of see more solutions and more opportunities kind of opening up for me. And I'm hoping that this next Christmas, I'll make up for it. I think that's a promise that I'm going to make, not only to myself, but to share with you guys. And maybe you guys can check in with me Christmas 2025 and say, hey, how did it go? Hopefully it was a lot better. But for the guys who watch the channel, I know it's a very, very small channel, and I do appreciate you guys, but how would it make you feel? Feeling like you couldn't provide something that you wanted to, and maybe she dropped hints on the things that she wanted, and you just couldn't do it. You couldn't swing it. How would it make you feel? And for the few ladies that watch the channel, how would you feel getting nothing from your guy, from your boy? I mean, your man. Like, we've been together for quite some time now, and that kind of gives us an opportunity where we can kind of speak candidly with each other and be honest with each other and open, and there's a very wide berth for communication between us, but it doesn't feel good. Like, I think maybe there was this lingering feeling in the back of her mind that maybe she would still get something. And if I'm able to turn it around in the near future, I think I'm gonna make it up to her before that, because I feel like a bum, like a loser, like a bum, like it's hard to explain until you've been in that position. I'm thankful that she isn't a very superficial person. She's not a very materialistic person, doesn't necessarily need gifts, doesn't necessarily like gifts, but what woman doesn't like to get their nails done? What woman doesn't like to at least be taken out for coffee? Even she doesn't drink coffee, but given a gift card for coffee, say, hey, I thought about you and I want you to treat yourself. It feels terrible to know that I couldn't do that. Like, I feel like less than a loser. I don't know. And there's some people out there, they get this crazy mindset in their head when they're like, you shouldn't celebrate Christmas. So Christmas isn't what it used to be. Christmas is a pagan holiday. Or saying the word Christmas is somehow offensive to people who don't celebrate Christmas. Maybe you celebrate Kwanzaa. Maybe you celebrate Hanukkah. Maybe you celebrate, I don't know, Magical Fortitude Day. I don't know. That's not the point. Christmas is more than just this Christian symbol holiday. I think it's more of an American staple. Apple pies, baseball, Christmas morning. Those things kind of go hand in hand. We invented the whole thing, basically. Yes, it existed before America did, but we basically truly invented Christmas. We have the best Christmas songs. We have all the Christmas movies. We invented Christmas. So it's more of a American cultural celebration where we can get a chance to be around friends and family and not necessarily have to work. And if you just consider it like that, then yes, you can still celebrate Christmas regardless of your religious beliefs, because it's not about necessarily the religion. Now, if you're a religious person, I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you guys are going to celebrate the birth of Christ on that day. But for many of the secular people in the world, that's what they're going to do. It's not just about going to church for mass. And it's not just about gifts for these people either. It's more so about the spirit of Christmas. Yes, has it changed? Yes, for sure. It is not what it used to be. It is not this big religious celebration. And that's okay too, as long as people are getting together and coming together. Think about it. Would you rather people don't? Because most people don't go to church anymore. So would you rather people just don't get together then because they choose not to celebrate Christmas? That's really stupid idea. Christmas is about the magic of Christmas morning. It's for the kids, guys. Like, it's for the children. Let them be curious. and wonder about the world for just a little bit longer. And then there's those people, and I can kind of fit in this category, where Christmas has become kind of a symbol of rampant, out of control consumerism. And I understand that argument tremendously. Capitalism is completely out of control in this country, where we are strung out with a lure only to fulfill a cycle of dopamine and work. It's this rampant consumerism that is part of the issue. I know I wasn't the only one who noticed that this was the first year where Christmas stuff was out before Halloween stuff was out. And I'm not saying this has to be a specific order of things, but no, what I'm saying is, think about it. They're trying to program you into getting ready for the holiday buying season sooner and sooner and sooner. It is now an entire quarter of a holiday buying season. I think I saw Christmas decorations as early as September 30th, which is craziness to me. These corporations, these big mega corporations, retail giants, they look forward to Christmas. They love it. Oh man, they just want to sell you all this plastic junk, these things that you really don't need. And if we had to be honest, these things that you really don't even want, you've convinced yourself you want them because of the rush and hit of dopamine and then this feeling of Christmas spirit. Maybe you had a little bit too much eggnog. Whatever the issue is that you've convinced yourself that you want it. Versus I found that the best gifts for me has always been something I could actually use. Something I can actually use. Like if you get me a wrench or some socks, a knife, something like that is always far more appreciated than the latest consumer electronic or something to that chagrin. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to get around to is the finances of Christmas, and I want to talk to you guys about that in a bit. Does it make me contradictory to say that we should celebrate Christmas on one hand, and then on the other hand say, that it's rampant consumerism? Yeah, sort of. I can at least admit that. It's a little bit contradictory. But there is a fine middle line here. Christmas is for the kids. Now, if you're a grown adult living so many miles away from your parents, maybe you don't even live in the same city as your parents, and you guys just get together to have dinner, fantastic. You don't have any kids, that's great. But when you have kids, you have to celebrate Christmas. You got to put out the tree, you got to put out the wreaths, you got to put out the lights and all that. And you got to make this Christmas this magical thing for them. And I think that's a wonderful thing. It's good to have our kids still wonder about the world, to want to explore things like science and geography and want to know more about this strange place that they suddenly spawned into. It's also this chance to show the people you care about most that you actually care about them and that you remember them. And I'm not saying that this has to come with a gift, but what I am saying is this is an opportunity for you to travel, to meet them, and to get together, have some good food, some fellowship, and be around your friends. And it's a good way to kind of cure the onset weather depression that a lot of us get if you live in a snowy area or cold area. I like the cold personally, but for a lot of people, the cold is extremely depressive, and more people than ever tend to feel very alone during that time of year for whatever reason. Maybe they had a bad childhood, maybe their family's no longer around, whatever the issue is. It's a very depressing time for a lot of people. So reaching out to them, making sure they're okay, maybe even sending them a Christmas card saying that you thought about them. That's what's important during that time. But a lot of us have gotten it confused. We've replaced all of that happy-go-lucky feeling, the songs, oh, the weather outside is frightful, all that. We replaced all of that with just buying stuff. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. And I know this makes it seem like it's a long intro. It's not. All that was important. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Instead of me ranting at the camera, I'm actually going to cover something that I saw in the news, which spawned me to want to actually, talk to you guys about this, since we try to do pseudo personal finance here. This comes from CBS News. Americans spent more on the holidays in 2024, but many didn't even have the means to pay. So I'm not going to read the entire article. I'm just going to go to the highlights that I saw. And I think that it's important for us to realize just how bad things were in 2024. And then we're going to extrapolate some of that data out so you guys can understand what happened, how you can personally avoid what happened, and then some other pitfalls to look out for. Earlier this month, a poll that showed 49% of parents will go into debt to buy Christmas gifts for the holiday season, according to data from Coupon Birds. That's almost half. Half of all parents in the United States are going to go into debt. Then a poll was conducted. A poll of 2,500 Americans, adults, showed that parents are planning to spend an average of $461 on Christmas gifts per child this year. The poll indicated that 9% of parents are going to go above and beyond and spend $1,000 per child, with a mere 4%, like some of us out here, are going to spend less than $100 per child. And it's not because these people who are spending $100 per child are doing it because they're so economical and they are so, what's the word here? They don't like to buy things for Christmas and they're gonna do the whole minimalism thing. It's more so because a lot of us couldn't afford it. And if you were making a good financial decision, you were probably gonna spend less than $100 because you had to and you couldn't or shouldn't or wouldn't put it on consumer debt. Last year's sales for 2024, the total approximate spending in America was $964.4 billion, which is more than double the amount that we spent in around 2004, which was about 20 years ago. That is almost $1 trillion that we've spent for Christmas shopping. In that last quarter of the year, we spent $1 trillion on gifts. And this is not accounting for how many of those gifts were returned, because we all know a lot of those things get returned. So these corporations that really, really, really want us to spend all this money, they know that they're going to also have the return season afterwards from like the end of December to January. And yeah, all that black that they showed after Black Friday is now red. And this is done so they can trick their shareholders with the Q4 announcements. Hey guys, this is how well we did for the holiday season. Please buy our stock. It's all basically a Ponzi scheme. If you guys don't see that, then wait to buy your retail stock until January. Wait till then to buy it. This is not financial advice, but I'm just saying, look at how the stock trends tend to go. Hold on, for you guys, it might be this way. Look how the stock tends to go, and you'll see that right after Q4 announcement, boom, it's like, oh, great, we spent all this money. But the moment that the high finally comes down and people face reality, realize that this money was spent, but none of it was kept. It's plastic widgets that no one actually wants. A lot of it's garbage. I had to explain to several people that you only convince yourself that you want it because you think you're going to get a deal. When 9 times out of 10, you're not getting a deal. It's just the price is the price because that's what they ordered. And they make it seem like it's a deal with something called doorbusters, which are loss leaders. And these things specifically are cheaper, lower quality garbage items that they put on sale. No, they bought the minimum order quantity to get the sale and then feed you that to then get you to go in the back of the store and slowly whittle you up to a higher tier item, like a TV, for instance. And then they're hoping, really, really hoping that you buy a warranty on top of it. Okay? So it's not that simple. Almost $1 trillion was spent this last Christmas season. And as a result, I was able to draw some conclusions based on that data. Almost 900 billion. It was exactly 964 billion to be exact. And 36% of those people, according to the article, took on debt, okay, Christmas debt, in order to pay for that item. So what that comes out, if you do the math, 964 billion multiplied by 36% comes out to roughly $347 billion were just debt dollars, debt spending, 347 billion. Now, comparing that to what was spent in around 2004, that number was 467 billion. So we're just, what is that, $120 billion off of hitting the numbers that was the entire budget for 2004 is now just debt spending in 2024. This is why I tried to tell you guys, 2024 was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. They gaslit us into saying it was the best numbers of our lives. Look at the economy, look how great it is. It's because people are spending it on credit cards. They're putting it on debt. because the inflation's too high. The cost of living is too high. Just a few more years of this, if we were going to continue along that same trajectory, just a few more years of this, and the budget just in debt spending, which we can call deficit spending, the budget just in deficit spending would exceed what the budgets were within the next 20 years. Now, this basic comparison is not accounting for inflation. So 467 billion back in 2004 is not 467 billion today. But just give you an idea of just the numbers, the sheer spending that's happening on how many of those items were just plastic junk that are going to end up in a landfill somewhere. They're going to end up broken and torn apart. And I'm not talking about toys. Toys serve a purpose. It keeps your kid quiet. It jogs their brain. It gives them hand-eye coordination. Toys are fine, okay? As long as they play with them. But what about the garbage, useless spending of plastic widgets that people put on a shelf somewhere and it just sits there as a reminder that someone bought you something one time? Why do we do this? We're drowning in debt and no one's gonna toss us a life raft. We just need a ring. Just toss us one of the white donuts off the ship. We're drowning in this mess. The survey also showed 60% said that they're only going to be making the minimum payments, while 40% said they're going to be paying off the debt within 5 months, in the course of 5 months or longer. In the meantime, LendingTree issued a report showing that 36% of Americans took on debt for the holiday season. The average American went into debt and took on an average of $1,181. Also, those who used debt for holiday purchases, 42% said that they used credit at 20% or higher. 42% of people. So you take 42% of people were taking out debt at 20% or higher, which is likely to be just credit cards. In this instance, we can do a simple interest calculation of 347 billion, multiply that by 42% comes to $146 billion is going to be paid in just debt payments here, of which 29 billion is just simple interest. It's too complicated for us to go and calculate the compound interest in this case, because if the debt isn't fully paid off within the first month, you incur a interest charge of them, which you pay that plus the new principal, then it goes down. That's called compounding interest because it compounds on an annual basis or on a monthly basis. But there's too many assumptions we would have to make, including how long it would take for them to pay off the debt, minimum payment calculations, things like that. But we know that 40% said that they'll be paying their debt over the course of 5 months. And then there's those who are doing even worse that said they're going to do the minimum payments. People, we have to educate ourselves better when it comes to how credit cards work and how compound interest works. Because of the people who are kind of doing it a smarter way, I wouldn't say it's smart. No, it's not smart. But the better, more responsible way is to pay it off. You want to pay it off within 30 days, ideally. But for those who are kind of imagining, okay, if I'm going to leverage this much, then I can kind of do it in 5 months. For those people who are taking that route, they're going to be making payments from December, if they start within December, through April. And if they start in January, they're going to be going to May. Paying it off until almost the middle of this next year is craziness. That means Christmas lasts half a year for a lot of us. And then what happens if you get behind and you incur other charges like late fees, and then more interest charges on top of that? It is a debt cycle that is strangling the life force out of each and every one of us. Why can't we see this? You should never use a credit card for consumer debt. Credit cards can be used in emergency cases, which I'm not even a big fan of that process, but you have to remember it's a revolving credit line that you pay it off, that amount you pay off becomes available for you to once again take out again as a small short-term loan. It should be paid in full at the end of each and every month, right? If you could really kind of consider the purpose of it, it was a convenient way to kind of consolidate all of your monthly purchases down into one centralized way. Credit cards also offer some other benefits and perks as well because, I mean, let's face it, they have to because you're paying an insane amount of interest if you choose to leverage interest, which why would you? But I think 20% should be just criminal. That should be illegal. But let's go ahead and think about it like this. If you get paid several times a month, but you aren't making enough to make a payment on, let's say, your car payment or on your grocery bill for the month, and you like to buy in bulk, for this example, the sake of example, this is a far-fetched example, but sake. You say you make $500 a week, your credit card limit is $2,000. Boom, you load up the credit card, pay your card, your car note, pay for the gas, pay for groceries within that first week, and then as your paychecks come rolling in, you pay it all off. It's a way to kind of consolidate all your balances and all your finances into one place, and then you can get perks such as points, mileage, cash back, things like that. Too advanced for people who have bad credit and who have failed at the credit card game before. That's why we're not going to talk about that right now. Okay, we're just going to talk about our gripes with the system. Okay, that's all we're going to do. I just want to illustrate this point for you so that way, if it just inspires you, you can go and educate yourself further. Credit cards should never be used for consumer debt. Okay, if anything, you can use it to kind of consolidate your purchases over a month-long expanse, but nothing more. If you do it that way, you will use credit cards properly. I guarantee it, and you will reap the benefits of it. Now, they're the other than credit cards, which tend to have a much higher interest rate. And I know that those companies are absolutely booming right now. Business is booming. Q4 2024 has been a record year for them. I can guarantee it. And those are places like Klarna, QuadPay, or it might be called Pay in 4 now, but it doesn't matter. Those are the buy now, pay later models where you're going to put down a small deposit or your first payment installment. You pay that up front, and then they automatically deduct it from your next pay checks to cover the cost of whatever it is that you're buying. Those are dangerous. Those can get really out of hand very quickly because it convinces you to subconsciously buy something that's more expensive than what you would have purchased. Let's say you were interested in getting a TV for your bedroom. You looked at it, you did some shopping around and said, okay, cool, this TV that I'm going to use just in my bedroom and maybe I'll use it for 6 or 7 hours a week is $350. It is a 50-inch television, it's $350. I think it's a good deal. It doesn't have to be perfect. But then you see all these shiny new features on the bigger, better TV, but it's outside your budget. It's outside your budget. It is $1,200, okay? Way more than what you initially expected. But hey, look, there's this pay in 4. So now, instead of paying $350 today and being done, $350 plus tax, $350 and being done, now you're going to do this pay in 4 thing where you're going to pay $300 today plus whatever fee they charge you plus sales tax, then 300 your next pay period, then 300 next pay period, then 300 next pay period, and then it's paid off, right? Well, they've done some studies, and you're more likely to pay for warranties you don't need. You're more likely to pay for more than what you need in terms of a consumer item, it's like a TV, like a consumer electronic product, and you're more likely to just waste that money overall. Just for the same item, so you ballooned your budget. There's $350 for a TV that's going to be used for years and years to come. Now it's $1,200. You've blown your budget out of the water, and now you're behind on whatever else you did to make those accommodations. It's a dumb practice. Stay away from buy now, pay later models, guys. It's not good. The reason why they're introducing this, and the reason why why credit card companies are holding more consumer debt than ever before, is because they want to keep you a wage slave. These economic leeches want to make sure that all you're ever capable of doing is buy product, don't complain, consume new product, repeat. And after you're done with that, make sure you go to work and pay your taxes, because you need the money to be able to go buy product. And then when you're done buying product, get excited for next product. It's just a cycle. There's 16 iPhones out now, and that doesn't even count for all the different generations of iPhones there's ever been. Consider that. 16. Many of us have had 16 iPhones. Many of us replace our phones every 2 years. I'm not one of those people. Try to be content with what you have, so that way you don't go searching for the next new thing, the next new dopamine hit to make you feel something. Happiness is going to come from within yourself, and contentment and fulfillment comes from within yourself. It's about more so what you put out than what you take in and what you receive. Christmas was a bad Christmas because I didn't feel like I could put out enough. So I just showed up and gave my presents. But this next year, I'm not going to only bring my presents to my family. I'm going to bring my energy there too. And my energy wasn't good this past Christmas. It was in a bad, dark place because 2024 kicked me and held me down and pushed me to my absolute limit. I really don't want that to be 2025. So I'm doing absolutely everything I can now to make sure that there are some changes. We all need to come together and keep our heads held up high so we can all escape this together. If you don't let them get you down and pull you down to where they want you to be mentally, they can't pull you down to where they want you to be physically either. And then if they can't do that, they can't do it financially to you either. Because once you educate yourself, once you fully understand what you're capable of, what we're capable of, and what we understand and know, now that we are all interconnected and we can use this for good, we could stop babbling about which person's more oppressed, which subgroup is more oppressed and hurt more by who, when we need to realize that it's just those people right up there looking down from their towers, their ivory towers and their golden gates. They're looking down on us and hoping that we never wake up to what there actually is to pay attention to here. If you took on some consumer debt this past holiday season, what'd you buy? Let me know in the comment section below. Was it worth it? Tell me, check the price of that thing that you bought during Christmas time. Is it cheaper now? Check Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or whichever you like to use. Can you find the item used? If you really needed it, can you find it used? Is it worth what you paid? These are the things that always go in my head unless I'm buying something that's gonna make me money. The closest thing I can think of is like my computer, for instance. I built it up over time, upgrading components piece by piece. And I love the thing, and I use it quite a lot. And over its entire history of existing, I think the dang thing cost me maybe $5,200. It just piece by piece by piece, I upgrade it. Maybe every 2-3 years, I'll upgrade something because it's in desperate need of it. And it's made its money back maybe 5 times over, because of the type of work that I'm capable of doing when it's available. You need to start thinking of stuff, what you buy in that way. What value does it bring to you other than entertainment? Because entertainment is fleeting. What you can hold your head up and be happy about are the things that you achieve and the people that you impact. Those are a little bit more important than the next plastic widget or the newest video game that comes out, or whatever it is. And this is not me talking bad about your hobby. Do your hobby. It's a beautiful thing to be able to have escapism, especially when you need a break. But it's when that thing gets out of control and you start allowing dopamine to control you is where it becomes a problem. Hold your head up, guys. Relish in your achievements. And hopefully Christmas 2025 is nothing like Christmas 2024. I want to see those numbers go down. I want to see retail companies begging for us to come back. Let's not do almost $1 trillion in spending this next Christmas. I had this idea that I was like, okay, guys, for my adults, family members, I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, but my youngest sister, she's not an adult yet. And I was like, Mom, Dad, 2 brothers, 1 sister, let's get together. Instead of doing a gift exchange, let's do a investment raffle. Right? You guys feel free to steal this idea. I think it's an incredible idea. Everybody puts in, let's say, $50 or $100. It's a predetermined amount of money, no more than what they would have spent on a gift exchange. And then you raffle it to one person, and it can only be one winner, or you can even buy multiple raffle tickets. Haven't quite worked out the kinks. And the person who wins, now they have one job. They take that money, and instead of going to buy an iPhone or a PlayStation 5 Pro or whatever the latest shiny new thing is, or next new fresh pair of Jordans, instead of doing that with the money, they invest it somehow. Either they start a small business, they buy cryptocurrency, they put it into a stock. You know, they do some type of day trading, or maybe they're just kind of just playing around in stock a little bit. Maybe they bought NVIDIA stock and made off like a bandit. I don't know. Whatever they choose to do with the money, maybe they file for an LLC with the money. We then use that as a learning opportunity for everybody else. They use that money and then they write a report every quarter that they keep. And then at the next Christmas, before we do the next raffle, they do a report. Hey guys, we collected a grand total of $500. And over the course of 12 months, that $500 grew to $1,000. And here's how I did it. So you guys can replicate that if you want. Or, you know, we started with $500 and we lost $500. And here's what happened. And this is why I lost the money. And it's okay to lose the money. That's the whole point, is to be able to fail. When you're down here, you can't afford to fail. But this gives us an opportunity to fail. It was a great idea that I had for Christmas, and I keep trying to convince everyone to get along with me and do it with me. I can't do it by myself. Otherwise, my failures are my own, and I can almost learn nothing from them. Shared failure is a really great way to learn. That's what I'm working towards. Sorry, guys. This video went way longer than I expected. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, tuning in. If you guys like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more of me, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to argue with me, maybe you don't like my hair today, then put it in the comment section. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you soon.